Hey guys, how are we all doing? It's Connor or RudgyFX. So this is going to be my first proper lifestyle video since my psychology video, and we're going to be doing a lot of psychology today. So obviously my video that I posted earlier today, so I know obviously after a couple of months of not posting, I've posted 2 videos in one day, so you know I'm making up for lost time. But I think the most important thing is the reason why I'm making this video is because I've had a bit of a rough week last week, and I thought, you know, it's the start of a new half of the year, it's a new quarter and a new month, and I'm starting off on the right track. And today's already been a lot better because of the power of the mind. It is the 1st of July today, which means 3 main things. It is the start of the second half of the year, it's the start of the 3rd quarter, and it's the start of a new month. And this is a great time to reflect on everything you've done within the last 6 months, within the last quarter, or even within the last month. And you know, it's so important to understand and reflect on what you've done and review, work out what you could have done better, so then in the next 6 months, in the next quarter, and in the next month, next week, whatever, you can work on them things and you can be better and improve yourself. So you know, for me, my reflection is the things that I've done so far is become funded this year. That was something I wanted to do by June, by my birthday, and I've done that, right? And obviously, yeah, so since obviously my last video, I'm now 20 now, so you know, getting a little bit older, I'm out of my teenage years, and you know, getting really serious about what I'm going to do, thinking about my future. And of course, so yeah, I've got funded. I finished my 2nd year of university, so you know I'm closer to finishing it than I am starting it now. Instagram's on 5,200 followers, subscribers is 125 on YouTube. Obviously, I'm establishing myself as a head community mentor within the community, and recently done my first webinar. That was all about sort of dissecting my strategies and the ROF strategies. I've recently become a mentor on the Trading Mentor Online site, so that's sort of part of the ROF group. And obviously that's a chance for me to really show what I know within sort of my time and experience. It's very different to a lot of people's experience, right? So when I go on to is, you know, I might have been trading for 2 years on paper, but that's very different to someone else's 2 years, right? And I think that's what people got to understand. So, and obviously one of the sort of the things that I live for, right? Educating, inspire, practice what I preach. I'm so close to getting a couple of the guys funded that I work with, and you know, it's so great to see because if I've genuinely shown them the vision, and you know, I've educated them, I've shown them what I've done, I've shown them my strategies, and I've inspired them, and even though they might do something slightly different, they're so close to getting there and becoming funded, and it's so good to see. So that's sort of the positives, you know, that's a bit of reflection, and I think it's always important to do that. And the other side of it is reflecting on the last week. So the last week I've sort of not been sort of in my best mood. I've been a bit out of routine. It's been since my birthday. So on my birthday, you know, I was slightly different. You know, I had a weekend off. I wasn't sort of working on the Saturday, Sunday like I normally do. You know, I chilled, saw my friends, with family, and sort of it just took me out of routine a little bit. And that sort of carried forward, you know. My birthday's on a Monday, had the weekend, you know, an extended weekend, and it does, everything goes out the window. And I know that now, you know, when I look back and think rough week, I had some personal stuff, I had some work stuff, I had some trading stuff. You know, you put them together and you realise why. And it's actually funny because I say trading stuff, but I've actually had my record month, like, so you know, I had like a 20% week, a 10% week, and then like recently, obviously the video you saw earlier, that was a pound Swiss recap of 30%. And I think that's the important thing, right? Like, I look at it and I think now, like a couple months ago, that would have completely ruined my trading. But even though I was dealing with all these other issues, my trading's never been better. And it's because I'm getting to that point now where I understand that, you know, trading is the job. I've got to be in this sort of state of mind where I'm not fragile, you know, I don't let things get to my trading, because if I know what I'm doing, I'm comfortable with my trading, and I just need to sort these other aspects out. And that's when you can do that, it just makes your trading so much better. And I think the important part is, for me, I don't want to just be creating trading content anymore. You know, like I was posting watch this every week, and that's all I do. Then I've done the psychology video, and that's been my best video, and I realised, you know, that's what I enjoy doing. Like, I love doing that. Something for me is really important is psychology, because of past experiences, difficulties with mental health and things like that. I do truly understand, you know, how important it is with trading, how it can be so influential. And you know, trading is more than just a chance to learn how to trade, chance to look at some candlesticks. It's a chance to genuinely change your mindset, change your routine, and understand what the bigger picture is, right? And I think the most important for me, you know, is saying, like I've always said, structure and routine is so important because it keeps yourself physically and mentally active. Without these, it's likely you fall into bad habits. You're inefficient, you're unproductive, you struggle mentally. Especially, you know, in the current times, I've said before, it's more key than ever to add structure where you can. And then, you know, I reflect and I think there and I sit there and I go, you know, I'm a positive guy, like what my job is, and, you know, trading everything I do. And as a mentor, you have to be positive. And I always say to people, you know, every failure and every adversity carries with it the seed of an equivalent benefit or advantage. So, you know, what that means is, you know, the person who can find to live that benefit, live for that seed of advantage, they're the ones who will become successful because they know that what they're waiting for, what they're looking out for. You know, luck in the short term is temporary, right? It is short term, whereas in the long term, you control the overall outcome, you can control the bigger picture. And it all comes down to perspective. How you see and understand a situation will determine your reaction. Seeing the hurdles as positive, as a chance to learn rather than negative, it changes your mindset because you have that opportunity to improve and succeed rather than seeing it as a negative where you failed each and every time, making the exact same mistake. And, you know, insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, but not changing anything. And that's the definition of insanity. So, you know, that's the important part there. It's like last night, for example. I went on a little bit of a rant on my Instagram because of, you know, after a tough few weeks, I was thinking about today, you know, being the new start, new month, new half of the year, and also a new quarter. And, you know, I thought about it and I went on to a little rant on Instagram, so I'll go through some of the points that I spoke about because they're very valid and I still stick to them. You know, too many people they talk without any action at all. If they speak, you need to back up. For me, I'm very vocal on my Instagram on trading. I speak on issues outside of trading, but I'm vocal about it because I believe in it. You know, as you see in my new intro, which I hope you guys enjoy. Obviously, within this industry, too many talk, but not many walk. And what I mean by that is, you know, you have to practice what you preach. You have to truly understand and believe in what you're doing. Otherwise, there's no point doing it. If you're not passionate about something, don't do it. Whether you're selling a product, whether you're doing a job, whether you're in a hobby, whether you're in a sport, if you don't do it, so if you don't enjoy it, you're not going to truly have the best potential you can be and reach that potential. There's so many, you know, athletes in their youth that could potentially get so high in that career, but they don't enjoy it anymore because they're pushed into it and realise it's not actually what they want to do. And I think that's so important, you know. For me, today I've realised my focus, my goals are very clear, I've set all my goals out, my affirmations, you know, I've sent my affirmations, sat there and, you know, said them to myself, and my trading psychology is unparalleled at the moment. Like, I've never had this psychology in terms of my trading, in terms of the strength that I have at the moment when it comes to trading, and I now just need to work on the other side of stuff. Like, I don't just preach, I practice what I'm talking about. The last 18 months, as you've all seen on my Instagram, of course I've been trading for 2 years, but the last 18 months I've journaled every part of it, and it's been a story that all of you guys have seen, and that's why I do enjoy having it, and I love my Instagram. You know, people, they worship those who speak the loudest, but they don't choose to learn from those who practice the best. They follow someone, but they won't choose that different path. You know, they're always going to follow, and if you're always a sheep, if you are a sheep, you'll always be a sheep. Whereas if you become the shepherd, you then quickly become the leader, and you stop being influenced and become the influencer. So you know, in the long term, you can be a visionary, which is great. I love having that vision and sharing it with people. But in the short term, you must be able to lead it to get there. You know, like, you don't become the best by playing around with the average, right? If you go and play football for Real Madrid for a week, you're probably going to improve compared to playing with a lower league team, like Ebbsfleet, for example. And you know, you don't become the best in that sense. You have to challenge yourself. You can't just keep performing at that same sort of level, because eventually you're going to get content, and you need that overload. It's like with the gym, like gym's so important to me, you need that progressive overload, right? Because if you keep doing that same weight, you're not going to improve. Your body gets used to it and it becomes easy. So, you know, like, my last 18 months, it's not been the average 18 months, right? Like, I'm not the average 20-year-old. I can sit there proudly and say that. You know, time is a number, but the truth is in the productivity and the efficiency, you know, that saying of, you know, work smart, not work hard. I've learned more in the last 18 months about myself and about my life and about life in general than I've ever had before. Than most people are probably doing that time. You know, I've got 2 years experience on paper, but within that time, you know, it's not like a 9 to 5, you know, you do 40 hours a week. This is something that I put every single day, 16 hours a day, you know, going to bed early hours in the morning, waking up early hours. You know, I seriously put a lot of time work into this. It's no coincidence I can sit here in front of you and make this video, because I believed in myself and had them affirmations. I didn't know at the time about law of attraction, but I was practicing it already. You know, people believe it's easy, and like I said, you know, in the short term they can have all the luck in the world, but in the long run they're not going to be self-sufficient, and that's another thing, that value that is really close to me. You know, what happens when people have a bad week? You know, they switch up. Obviously, I'm going to go back to trading. They switch up because they don't understand what they're doing. I always say you need to understand every single individual confluence, and a confluence is kind of like that one case. You know, and you have to put these cases together to get a strategy. But if you don't understand how to use every single confluence on its own, you're not going to be able to put them all together, because as soon as one piece of the puzzle falls, you don't know how to fix it. It's like a car, you know, if you can know how every single little piece works, it's going to help you in the long run. And I think, you know, that's so important, because if people take shortcuts, they're going to lose out. I've been working with people, you know, who are getting a little bit big for themselves, you know, get a little bit ahead, and you have to sometimes just realign their focus and make them see the bigger picture. You know, they do, and then they come back and they thank you, and that's part of being a mentor, right? Understanding when to put your foot in and when to sort of just leave them to it. You know, and a lot of the time, especially within this industry, you know, people don't have the structure, they don't have the guidance, and therefore they don't have the ultimate understanding. You know, don't cut corners, understand every aspect, and combine for maximum efficiency. I don't just do things for the sake of it. I know and understand each and every action that I have, and I know that it's going to be followed by the expected reaction that I have. There's levels to it. I understand what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. You need to stop caring about what everyone thinks, right? It's a hard lesson to learn, but once you do, your life will be better, I promise. You need more peace, you'll have more tranquility, focused, and you'll be in that flow state. And you need to trust yourself, or you will lose yourself, because if you do carry on how everyone else wants you to act, you're going to lose out in the long run. You know, ensure that you have the right people around you. You know, I always say you're an average of the 5 people you spend the most time with, and if they're not backing what you're doing, then unfortunately they're not going to be, there's not need for them anymore, right? It can be hard, but like I said, you'll understand that your life will become a lot better. So like social media, for example, obviously having an Instagram that I do, and, you know, seeing many people, you know, seeing people that I don't even potentially know necessarily. You see all the ups, but you don't see the downs. I've had really, really good weeks on Instagram, right? Trading-wise, yes, but personally, I haven't. You know, after all, something that I found really interesting, I was reading up the other week, was the word personality comes from the Latin word persona, which means mask. In public, we try and constantly portray someone we are not. We're displaying on the outside a personality in which we desire, but we don't show our true self until we are in an environment that we're comfortable within. For example, a relationship. When you and your partner are comfortable with one another, you will start to be a lot more relaxed and, you know, be a bit more yourself. You'll be more jokey, you'll be more playful. So yeah, so that's sort of a bit about sort of rant I had last night, and I think it's just invaluable points. So now sort of going back to sort of that idea of, you know, why is it so important to set goals? Why is it so important to have them affirmations? You know, I have huge goals for the next half, for the next quarter, for the next month. And I'll be working hard to deliver the best content in terms of YouTube, in terms of Instagram, you know, the best trading analysis for the community, and even education. I want to do a lot more educational stuff, you know, whether it's trading, business from what I've learned so far in my short sort of career, and also, you know, just in terms of advice and psychology and just success. I think I can say about that because I'm sitting where I am today, a 6-figure funded trader, and obviously at a community, working within the community I do as a head community mentor. And, you know, I want to work on any content that I can. So if you guys have anything you want to see, put them in the comments below. You know, I'm so focused on creating self-sufficient traders through the process that I went through myself as a funded trader, and I'm excited to see, you know, where these guys end up. You know, someone today, for example, signed up and they're so excited for that journey, and I'm so excited with them because I want the best for them. If anyone shows me that passion and that belief that they can do it, I will give them back 100% of the time. Like, they give me 100%, I give them 110%, right? And as traders, you know, we need to perform at maximum capacity in order to perform at the highest level over the long term. You know, with trading, there's high emotional strain, and when you're unable to control them emotions, you're going to see negative experiences. You know, if you're having negative experiences in your personal life, in your work life, it will have a negative impact on your trading, and vice versa. You know, if a trade goes against you, you start snapping at someone, or you start panicking, you might be staring at your phone all the time, right? And you know, the ones who perform at the highest level are the ones who begin to master their emotions, and they control that mind, right? And they also they kind of become robotic in a sense. You know, they say, I remember the film Lucy, you know, talking about sort of the brain capacity. You know, we only use 20% of it. That isn't really a surprise when you think about it. Look at the world we live in, right? People are so unaware of the capabilities in life and the opportunities we have to live an abnormal lifestyle. You know, in the current society we're in, so many people are now testing these theories, you know, conspiracy theories and all these things, because they're seeing this bigger picture. They're starting to rebel, and it's opening up a lot of different sort of paths and, you know, negative things and all these sorts of different stuff that's going on in the world. But ultimately, you just got to be true to yourself, and, you know, just think about yourself and your personal journey. We all have the opportunity to truly change our lives for the best. You know, like jealousy is a funny trait, right? Because those who are jealous are normally because of the fact that you've come up with in the same area as them, in the same opportunities, but you made the most of it, whereas they didn't. For example, myself, I look around sort of my school and stuff, and I think, you know, I have maybe done a bit better than most people that I was in class with, because if I've gone to that next level. There's nothing wrong with working a 9 till 5. There's nothing wrong with going to university. I go to university. but it's just, you know, trying to aim for that to be better. You know, if you're happy where you are, that's all the most important thing at the end of the day. You've got to be happy in what you're doing. You know, the community I'm in, it is really special because if I'm working with these guys who are so positive, you know, and being able to be that influence is so good. You know, like I said, become that influencer in a positive way. You know, becoming self-sufficient, it's not just about being self-sufficient in trading, it's about being self-sufficient in life, you know, being able to provide for your family, for your friends, for your parents, for your siblings, for your nans, granddads, whoever it might be, and obviously for in the future for your children, or for those who've got children, for your children, right? Like for me, you know, I'm excited to be a dad in the future, you know, have your son and teach them all these lessons that you wasn't taught at that point. But you know, you'll teach them the right way. You won't just give them everything. You'll show them the hard stuff, but you'll explain to them and teach them that lesson as well. You know, like this morning I finished writing all my goals for the month, and you know, reflected on the past 6 months, past 3 months, past month, and I've realised how far I've come. But now I'm thinking about what's some targets for the next 6 months, targets for the next 3 months. So you know, for me, you know, my main aspects are my trading, my work, sort of RYF in terms of being a head community mentor, obviously being a mentor now for Trading Mentor Online. You know, personal aspects, just different sort of parts of psychology, you know, reading, the gym, lifestyle, different aspects, you know. For me, like the last few weeks of my marriage, you know, a 40% trading month is not unrealistic for myself, for my strategy and for what I do. It's not unusual, right? Some people, you know, that's absolutely crazy. You know, you need 10% a month to pass the challenge. I passed it within 2 days. And of course, you need market conditions, you need everything in your factor, but you know, you don't just get given luck. You create your own luck. You know, read 2 to 3 books a month. You know, I've read 2, I think, finished 2 or 3 now, and I want to start getting back into that. For example, the gym. Obviously, I'm cutting at the moment, so you know, cutting my body fat percentage. I want to keep cutting that. At the moment, I'm around 17.5%. I want to get around to, you know, like 16, 14, etc. And obviously, create educational content and create some really cool content for you guys. Sometimes it's good just to sit in front of a camera and vent in a sense, because you know, you're getting it out, and it's obviously cool because, you know, I'm just chatting to a camera right now, but I know there's people that behind this are going to really appreciate it, and that's why I do it, because I know what it's like to have someone who can provide that vision for you. And you know, it's being that person that you didn't have, that mentor, that friend, whatever it might be. So you know, setting yourself them goals and targets are really important. So I advise you right now, grab a book, grab a pen and paper, go in your notes section, go on Trello, whatever it might be, write down some goals for the next month, for the next 3 months, for the next quarter, and for the next year, for the next half a year, right? Make a difference, right? You have the opportunity to just change whenever you like. You might not be happy right now, but think about these things, start working towards them. 1% every day is going to get you so much further than not doing nothing at all. Whether it's your diet, I've turned vegan this year, right, since March, and I've lost like 2 stone since doing that. Like I was never someone who's sort of morbidly obese, but I was someone who, you know, wasn't happy where I was at in my physical appearance. It's a physical issue, right? It's mental. And you know, like for me, there's nothing wrong with being overweight, being obese or anything like that, but it's, you know, that wasn't what I wanted. I wanted to be sort of slimmer, I wanted to be more sort of muscular. You know, being short, you have to try and make it up in other ways. And for me, you know, like I've put on a decent amount of muscle, I'm becoming a lot more confident in my body, I'm becoming a lot more sort of comfortable in my skin. And you know, mentally I'm on another level now, physically I'm on another level now, you know, I'm lifting a lot heavier than what I was before. And I think that's the most important thing. So, you know, with these sort of goals and these plans, you know, you don't want to just set some goals that, you know, you can achieve tomorrow. You want to set some serious goals that are going to challenge you, that are going to motivate you every single morning. That you wake up, you look at your plan, you say, I'm going to achieve this today, because that is what will drive you in the long run. You know, too many people, they focus on the past, you know, they focus on what's happened, but they don't think about what's going on in the future, and they let the past affect them negatively. And you need to turn it into a positive. You know, if you make a mistake, that's fine. But the trouble is, the mistake becomes more than the mistake when you don't learn the lesson from it. You know, like J. Cole said, fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, shame on you. You know, that's the issue. You know, if you keep doing it again and again, you know, it comes back to that definition of insanity, right? You know, you've got to make these changes, and if you can't make these changes, you know, you have to understand that it's never going to work. You're not just going to become a success overnight. Whether it's in anything, right? Whatever it might be, you're not going to become a success overnight. Unless you just win the lottery, maybe, which, what's the odds in that, right? You know, live and plan for the future, and don't stop working until you turn your goals to reality and turn your dreams into your goals. I had dreams, right? My dreams are quickly becoming my goals, because I'm at that point now in my trading career, in my life, and you know, I've got so much to look forward to. I leave uni, and I think, you know, I'm a 6-figure funded trader. I've got different aspects I'm doing, I'm mentoring, like, I'm most likely not gonna go into a 9 to 5. I might have an own 9 to 5, my own, running my own business or something. I'm not sure yet. I'm gonna wait and see what that could be. But I also know that 9 to 5 isn't the way forward. We've all learnt this from lockdown, right? Being at home, being in an environment that you're happy in. Sometimes I don't work very hard at home, I must admit, but I know that when I do get into that flow state, I just don't stop. It might come into like 7 o'clock in the evening. I go, you know what? I need to work. I've got ideas. I've got creative flow, isn't it? I've got that, So the last thing I wanted to talk about was a couple things. So firstly, the law of attraction. Talking about his targets and talking about his affirmations. What is an affirmation? So the law of attraction is attracting positive or negative affirmations in order to bring a positive or negative experience in life, whether this be success through money, family, friends, relationships, personal development, business, investment, etc. So, what are these affirmations I keep talking about? So affirmations are basically positive statements that can help you to challenge and overcome self-sabotaging and negative thoughts. When you repeat them often and believe in them and truly believe in them, you can start to make positive changes. Self-affirmations may also help to mitigate the effects of stress because you're working towards something. So something that I saw, and it really resonated with me, is you attract what your deepest subconscious thoughts suggest, not what your conscious thoughts want. Actions speak louder than words, Do you truly believe what you're saying? What you say you will achieve versus what you truly believe you will achieve. How many people did you see in school would say, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that? They never achieved it, right? Because they never believed it. They just said it because that's what people wanted to hear. The difference is nowadays you become older and you realise no one wants to hear that anymore. They want to just see someone actually practicing what they preach. That is the difference. Self-belief is the difference. So, the last thing I wanted to say was just 2 things from me. Firstly, if you haven't already read it, I know I've recommended quite a lot, read this book. It's called Success Hurts by Napoleon Hill. I'm going to do another video, not like a book review, but just going over some of the key values of it, because I think some of the values that I've truly brought into my own life, and the people that have read the book keep repeating them to me, they're learning from it. And I just think it's completely changed my outlook. The other thing I was going to say was, when you have these goals and targets, it's important to set yourself rewards, whether it's monetary, whether it's experiences. Reward yourself. For me, one of my major things is getting a MacBook. I will be getting my MacBook very soon, as a lot of people keep abusing me for. I will be getting one soon, but it's just a matter of time. I've just got things that are more important at the moment than things that I need to organise first. I'm not going to rush into anything. I need to sort things out and then get that, which, due to last month, I'm going to be fortunate enough to get that. The other thing I got was these really cool Dior's. The Air Force's customised Dior's. So I thought I'd just show them because, for me, for some people it's just a trainer, right? It's nothing too expensive because they're customs, but that small thing is reward for me, right? My 20th birthday, I got myself a present of some trainers. I could have got myself a lot more, but I'm focused on the long term, right? Not the short term. And I think something like this, it's just cool. Like I like obviously I'm quite big into my fashion, as you probably will see from my Yeezys. And I think that's the thing that I'm at a point now where I'm starting to understand that it's not about that, the monetary stuff. When you first start training, that's all you think about. Now, I don't really care. Like I'm actually earning money from trading. I'm not like before where you kind of pretend it. I'm actually earning money through trading. I'm not a signal seller, nothing like that. I'm a self-sufficient 6-figure funded trader. And I attracted that. I put my affirmations out, and that's what happened. I truly believed in that. So, to end the video, obviously, I just want to say, set yourself some targets, set yourself some goals, comment some below. This is going to be available on YouTube and on my Instagram, so obviously if you sort of check them out, like them, comment, obviously subscribe to my YouTube. I want to get to 250 by the end of the year, so double what I am now. I don't think it's unrealistic. I think obviously the content I want to produce is going to be cool. Let me know what sort of ideas you want. I hope you've enjoyed the video, and I will catch you guys later.